Well, good morning, good morning. Good morning from Massachusetts here on the east coast of the US. Happy July 3rd. Tomorrow is July 4th, one of our special holidays. So yes, I'm wearing red, white, and blue, and my earrings that I only put on once or twice a year for our July 4th Independence holiday. So welcome. I'm going to do a quick check to make sure that you can see me well and hear me well. If you can give me a thumbs up or just let me know in the chat and say, yes, Jennifer, we can see you and hear you. I think my early birds, Fernanda, I see you. Julia, welcome both of you. Thank you for being here. Okay, when you see me look off to the side, it's because I'm looking at the laptop to make sure what you see is what I see. What you hear is what I hear. Okay, lovely to have you here. We have about an hour together. We have an ambitious plan, but lots of exciting things to cover together. So if there are any questions, you can put them in the chat. Sometimes I miss them, but at the end, I will also make time for some Q&A. So if I miss your questions as I go along, just be patient and we'll make some time towards the end too. How is your day going? Let me know. Tell me at least in one word. How is your day? Super, exciting, difficult, hopefully not. How's your day? Mine is just starting out and it's good. I'm expecting it to get better and better. We have a heat wave here where I live. Yesterday was super hot. Let me get my phone out and tell you. I have an app that tells me Celsius and Fahrenheit. Okay, so today it's going to be 98 degrees Fahrenheit. For those of you who understand Celsius, it's going to be 36.67. That's hot, right? It's usually not this hot, but we do have days like this in Massachusetts. I expect it to get cooler. Yes. Thank you, Fernanda, for letting me know. Yeah. How's your day? How's the beginning of July for you? I hope it's going well. You have a heat wave too? Yeah, so stay cool. But also, if those of you who have air conditioning like me, I'm very grateful, but of course I'm trying to be mindful, and I'm setting it at a higher temperature to make sure that I don't use too much energy. But good to have you all here. I hope more people will join us. And let me work my magic and see if I can share my screen. Okay, share the screen. And I'm going to look over at the laptop again to make sure that what you see is what I see. 40 degrees. Oh my gosh. What do you guys do to stay cool? What do you do to stay cool? I personally, it's sad because I'm taking fewer walks. I really like to take short walks throughout the day with my dog usually, but I'm not going to take her out in extreme heat, not for very long. From Colombia, good morning to you. 40 degrees is hot. I think the important thing is to hydrate, right? Make sure you hydrate, stay in the shade. If you do go out, it's for short times, right? Ma Hippo is here. Yes, thank goodness it's Friday. TGIF. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Hopefully we're good to go. As I said, we have about an hour or so. Let me scroll like this. I know some of you are on your phones. Hopefully you can see everything well. So welcome. This is a subscriber-only chat. So if you want to participate and you're new, well, first of all, welcome. And I hope you'll subscribe and participate. I have channel members, and the channel members help me choose a topic. We're going to focus on how we think more in English. So we'll focus on what happens when we speak 2 or more languages, talk a little bit about that. I'll share lots of tips and activities for thinking in English based on my experience as a teacher, but also as a language learner. And stick around, please, because I'm going to share a new free speaking assessment. Okay, it's an assessment and more. And it's totally free, and I'm going to share it with you today for the first time. So get ready. It's going to be wonderful to have that tool for you. You can use it on a daily basis. If we have time, we're going to do a vocabulary and grammar challenge similar to what we've done recently in one of my videos. And of course, I'll share ways to gain more language practice. Okay? Fernanda's saying stay home. Yes, you stay indoors, right? You could visit friends, you can go to places, but you stay indoors when there's a heat wave. That was my earlier question. I do the same thing. Okay. All right, so let's think more in English. Here we go. Let me talk a little bit about my experience, and you can also add to the comments what is true for you and what advice you might have. First of all, what happens when we learn another language? As you become more familiar with the vocabulary and the grammar, it becomes part of you, right? It's part of your new knowledge. It's part of your skill set. It is natural for your mind to mix up words and grammar. It's like I feel when I switch into another language, I'm moving into foreign language mode, and then any language that I've ever studied in the past, even if I did not become fully fluent in that language, my brain has access to all of it and words start coming out. And the more similar languages are, the brain says, oh, I think I know something like that. And it puts a word or a grammar structure in. This happens as I'm learning Spanish. I'm about a high beginner now. My goal is to become low intermediate this year. I'm getting there. But French is somewhat similar. I studied a little bit of Japanese, but French is more similar to Spanish. There are times when my French vocabulary from high school comes up and words come out with either a French pronunciation or the actual French word, and it's not used in Spanish that way. It is natural for this to happen. When I'm speaking in Russian, the easy words like yes, no, I don't know, sometimes those words come out. I'll mix up Spanish and Russian. So this happens. Let me know, does this happen to you too? Without intending it, words come out, vocabulary comes to mind, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, that doesn't belong in this conversation. So just know it's natural for you. When you say, I want to think more in English, it's okay for that first language or other languages to come in. It happens to all of us. Yes? Oh, from Dallas. Hi, Roxana. Okay. 2, in a practice setting or a learning context, it's okay to mix the languages, but you keep that second language, the target language, as the dominant one. So let's say I'm trying to have a conversation with other Spanish learners. So we're all trying to speak Spanish, but we're going to mix in some English because we're not that advanced and it happens. Or it's just easier. We capture an idea and we throw in some Spanish. And our teachers allow us to do that. So we try to stick into Spanish as much as possible, but English creeps in. And it's okay. We're trying to be focused on Spanish. Spanish is the dominant language, but in this setting, we're all practicing, and English is a common denominator for all of us. So there's an example where the mixing is appropriate and natural for all of us. We're all trying to use more and more Spanish, but English is a support for us. Do you share common languages or not? If not, you are in a monolingual environment, and you need to be mindful of that. I remember when I was over in Moscow finishing up my graduate work, I was spending a lot of time with my American classmates, and we had a pledge. We're all going to promise to speak Russian as much as possible with each other, which we did. And again, sometimes English would creep in, but for the most part, we spoke Russian. My father had come over for a visit, and my classmate, who had gotten used to mixing English and Russian, totally forgot. My father didn't speak any Russian. So my classmate was mostly doing Russian with some English, and my father was looking at him with this blank look like, what are you talking about? So there's an example where mixing doesn't work. You have to be mindful of your audience. So yes, you can mix, but be mindful because the ultimate goal is Communication. So you can mix if it helps you learn and express, but when it comes to making sure that your audience or your listener understands, you have to remember, do they know the 1-2 languages that you're speaking or not? I also remember when I took the self-development course online, it was very international. People from all different countries were taking this course called Lifebook, where we created this vision for our future based on all the categories of our life. And week by week, we were writing in our life books, like a journal of the vision of our life that we wanted to live. And what happened for many people who do not speak English as a first language, they chose to mostly use their first language to write. And they mixed in some English, but there was a lot of use of their first language and maybe other languages because that meant it was special for them. That's how they wanted to see and express their future life. But when we came together to share, we described our discoveries and insights in English. So there again is this mixing that's possible, but you have to keep clear of when it's appropriate to mix and when it's not. Does that make sense? Good morning. Mohammed, you're saying your ear can pick up words. I can understand. I can also write words and grammar rules. But when you speak, you can't. Well, we're going to be talking about that, right? How do you see some of the examples I'm giving are you put yourself in a situation where you have to practice, but for a meaningful purpose, right? Like when I'm speaking Spanish, I'm trying my best to stay in Spanish, but we throw in some English. My classmates do the same. Or with my American classmates, we were advanced in Russian, and we stuck mostly to Russian, but it was okay occasionally for English to creep in because it captured an idea, or we asked each other, what's the word for, right? When I'm taking Spanish lessons, very often I'm asking, how do you say, como se dice, blah, blah, blah. Or if I'm with my Russian tutor, как сказать this, or как будет this. You ask someone who has more knowledge to help you formulate that idea in the target language, okay? Another, it says, it happens to me. I forget words in my native language. Yes. And then the English word comes out. It happens as you learn another language. They have words that capture a concept that your first language doesn't. And then it's like, oh, that's such a good word. That's such a good expression. And then you find yourself wanting to use it with other people and they may not know it. So then you have to sort of translate and teach them. But it happens. Yes. Manuel, hello. Wonderful to have you all here. Okay. So translanguaging versus translating. Just very briefly, I'm going to go over these concepts. You'll hear you know what translating is, right? French to English, English to Korean. So it's interpreting one language, finding a meaning in one language for something in another. Translanguaging is a little bit different. Okay, so the way I understand translanguaging, trans means across. So it's a matter of using the languages that you know to learn and express yourself. In a school setting, this is common with children who come to, let's say, the United States and they're learning concepts. They might need access to both languages to understand the science lesson or the math lesson. So you allow them to mix the languages in order to grasp the concept. But as you saw above, like with my my American classmates, we were all studying Russian, we mix. That's translanguaging. We mix the two in order to communicate with each other. Okay? If you have common languages, you can mix because you know everyone's following along. And it's quite funny. Sometimes we do it on purpose. When I first started Spanish, I practiced with my daughter and we were trying to make sentences on purpose. It was funny. Mixing Spanish, Russian, and English. I found that fun. So you can have fun with translanguaging. So translating is moving from one to another, but translating is moving from one to another to get the meaning clear, right? Especially when one group speaks this language, like English, another group speaks only Japanese, we need to translate the English to Japanese for those who have no knowledge of English. But translanguaging, if you're with people who understand both English and Japanese, you can do some mixing. So when is that appropriate? Well, in conversation, in casual conversation, giving explanations perhaps. Writing in your journal, that's for you. You can mix any languages you want. That's self-expression. If you're giving a professional or academic presentation, you're going to have to stick it to one language. If you're in an English-speaking classroom, the presentation will be in English, right? Writing email, who is your audience? But talking with friends, as long as your friends also have knowledge of those languages that you're mixing, I say it's fine. It's fun because being bilingual or multilingual, it's fun. It's amazing. Come on. Like, isn't it fun to have knowledge of languages? It's a gift that you all have, and you're working to, fill your, your treasure chest with more gifts because you're gaining more knowledge of English and possibly other languages. So use them. That's what I say. Yeah, man. Well, you're seeing differences, similarities and differences. Yes, when you're chewing the fat. Yes, when you're just having casual conversation, I think that's when it's most natural to mix up the languages. Okay. There's translanguaging, translating, and code switching. I'm just going to go over this briefly. If you have a chance, I'll zoom in quickly. There's this tool called Kagi Translate. I had so much fun with it. I'm not sure if it's still free. I was only using the free version. They had something called, it's like Google Translate, where you type something in English and then you can have it translated to any other language, right? But on Kagi, they had one of the options as LinkedIn Speak as a language. And LinkedIn Speak was highly business oriented and professional, kind of what we call corporate speak. Very wordy, grammar heavy, and very precise, sophisticated for sure, but we don't necessarily speak this way, except for when we're writing LinkedIn posts. So I know it's really small, but it's funny. Code switching, it's the same language perhaps, like English, but it could be a different variety of English. Or you need to know that, what if you say, yo, bro, that's fire, that's slang. And there are some situations where that's not appropriate. And there are some audiences who will not immediately understand that kind of language. The way you speak to your friends and your peers may be different from how you speak to your grandparents or elderly people in your community, right? And how you speak with your friends is a bit different from how you give a professional presentation at your job, right? So that is code switching. The more fluent you get, the greater ability you have to code switch, because you have enough language to know what's appropriate and you choose the appropriate grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation for that audience, right? That's code switching. This one's funny though. Look at this. So I typed in with improper use of I have no capital letters, but yo bro, that's fire, which means in LinkedIn speak, I'm absolutely thrilled to see such innovative and high-impact results. This is a testament to what can be achieved through dedication and a forward-thinking mindset. Truly inspiring work that sets a new benchmark for excellence in our industry. It's basically a way to say, this is wonderful. Good job. So there's slang, there's corporate speak, and then there's sort of, basic everyday English. Code switching is that ability to know the difference. So if you want to have some fun, go to Kagi Translate and choose LinkedIn Speak, and you'll be amazed how you translate everyday English into LinkedIn Speak. Is that funny? Oh, I know. Okay, we're hearing, I understand what others say, but can't speak. So we'll give you some practice. All right. If you want to think more in English, here are my top tips. How many of you talk aloud to yourself? Not to other people, to yourself. Say yes, yes, I do. I hope I see. Do you talk aloud? I'm seeing Fernanda reads. And it's okay. You can try to read, focusing on the English, but if you need a translation at the end of a chapter, for example, to make sure you got some key elements, you can, and then go back and read again with that new understanding. But yes, choose books that and texts that are at your level so that you don't constantly have to translate, right? So I know there's a bit of a lag, but I'm curious, how many of you talk aloud to yourself? So my Spanish is here, my Russian is here, and I do both. I do both. I sometimes talk to myself in Spanish, and I sometimes talk to myself in Russian, right? You can do this when on walks, in the car, because if it's a daily practice, there are things that you do a lot of. We drive, we walk, we take public transportation. I love to take walks. There aren't any people around usually, and so I have the freedom to talk aloud. Or in the car, I'll talk aloud, right? Talk aloud to yourself. You probably do this maybe even in your first language. I know people who do that, but switch into English, okay? Because that's the language you want to improve, right? Make it a daily practice. The goal is not to sound perfect. The goal is to use what you've got. I don't have a lot of grammar and vocabulary in Spanish compared to Russian. And even Russian, I'm sometimes feeling like I don't have everything I need to express exactly what I want, but you use what you got. And if you do a bit of translanguaging, so be it, right? But you're trying to stay dominant in Spanish or stay dominant in Russian, in my case, right? You can also aim to put vocabulary, structures, or patterns into practice. You reinforce them and grow your confidence. So let's say you practiced a phrasal verb like look forward to, and you just learned that you do not say look forward to do, but look forward to doing, look forward to going. So you can make examples and say, what do you look forward to this week, next week? I look forward to seeing my friends. I look forward to watching the fireworks. I look forward to having a nice lunch. I look forward to relaxing tonight and watching TV. So that's how you can practice vocabulary or grammar. Hold on to a structure and give some real life examples and practice saying that pattern multiple times, but in a meaningful way. Does anyone do that? And let's hold off from those kinds of phrases. Stay away from my grammar is bad. Okay. It's not, it's growing. My grammar is not great yet in Spanish, but it's coming along. So we're all on this journey, and it takes many steps and many days to increase the accuracy, to gain more knowledge, put it in practice, and become more accurate and therefore more confident. But again, talk aloud to yourself. Make it a daily practice. Don't worry about being perfect. Just use what you've got, even if you mix in a little bit of your first language. And you can be intentional if you want. Like, I really want to practice this vocabulary or this new intonation pattern, right? Reinforce through practice and continue to listen in English, not just talking aloud, but are you listening to English? I do this pretty much every morning with Russian. I have some favorite affirmations or motivational talks in Russian, and I know them very well by now, and the words just pour into my head, and the words become more familiar. The phrasing and the grammar is just reinforced, but the content is very special to me because it's motivating. It lifts me up. So I like listening to it, and that also makes me think more as I listen. I'm processing the ideas in Russian, right? So you choose the content that is pleasant and uplifting for you, that's helpful. So for me personally, I also like to listen a lot to positive content, whether it's affirmations where I listen and repeat, or just motivational talks. But also, you have to talk aloud to yourself. Find the opportunities to talk aloud. So how can you do this? And look at all the wonderful support you're getting from your fellow learners. Okay. Narrate what you're doing. This is what you can, I do this sometimes, especially in Spanish. because my vocabulary is more basic, right? What are you doing at this time? I'm in the kitchen. I am washing dishes. I see the water. I am at the sink. If I can't remember the word sink, fine, I'll just say sink because I know there's a kitchen sink in Spanish and there's a bathroom sink, and I can't always remember the kitchen sink. I mix it up with refrigerator. So you just use what you got. I'm making dinner. What am I making? What am I making? What ingredients am I making? Talk about what you're doing. Or if you're walking, I am walking. What do you see? I see trees and leaves and sky. If you don't have to speak in whole sentences if it's difficult to formulate. Start with words and phrases, but narrate what you're doing, what you see. Just let the language come to you, okay? Again, trying to stay dominant in English, but it's okay if the other language creeps in. That's all right. We'll talk about pronunciation practice, Roxana, but again, let's focus on thinking in English, but pronunciation practice, we can do some tips for that maybe. But don't worry. The basic tip I'll give you, Roxana, for everyone, if people have some difficulty understanding your English at first, slow down. Give them time to adjust to the way you're speaking, and then you try to be clear, okay? Try to be clear and careful with your pronunciation. Don't rush because they're speaking fast. Number one rule, slow down, okay? 2, you can state what you did so far today. Great for past tense, right? Keep it simple, or you can have fun and make yourself the hero of a wonderful story. If you're a lower level student, just state what you did. That's me practicing my Spanish, right? Like, I ate breakfast. I had tea. I washed the dishes. That's enough for me. That's what I can do in Spanish. In Russian, I could make myself the hero of my story. Those of you who are more advanced, have fun. What did you do this morning? And don't just say it like a factual way. Say, I made an amazing breakfast. I took a walk and it was exciting. It was beautiful. It was gorgeous. And I wrote this amazing email. It was powerful. It was accurate. I don't know, just like have some fun and celebrate yourself as the hero of this amazing story. What did you do? I exercised. I did 10 push-ups. I don't know, whatever you did, celebrate it and make it sound really, really good. Okay, that's something you can have fun doing. So you can always, when you're getting ready in the morning, talk about what you're doing, or if it's in the afternoon, talk about what you've done, right? And you can tell it factually, or you can tell it like you're amazing, like you're the hero of the day, and you can explain what you did in the most flattering way. So have fun with it. That's my point. Yes, Fernanda, AI can help to a degree too. All right. You can also move toward the future. State what your plans are for today or tomorrow. Keep it simple, right? Or make it sound as exciting as possible. So you could say, for example, tomorrow I will go shopping. Tomorrow I will sleep in. Tomorrow I'm going to see my friends. Tomorrow I'm going to do some laundry. Or you can talk about what you get to do and what you're looking forward to doing. Tomorrow I'm going to do laundry, and I love the clothes that I just bought and I can't wait to wear them, right? So look at it as something amazing and wonderful and exciting. I can't wait to do the laundry. I'm so excited because I bought a new shirt and I'm going to wear it when I go out with my friends on Saturday night. So you can tell things factually, or you can elevate it and have fun and make things sound as exciting as possible, whether it's the past or in this case, in the future. All right. So narrate what you're doing in the present, state what you've done, or state what you're going to do. Right. And make it sound exciting. If you have the language to start doing that, do it. Have fun. Describe what you see. I've mentioned this as you walk or drive. If you're on public transportation, you can talk in your head or whisper, or listen to this. Great advice from a teacher. When I went to the THIS convention, that's my annual teachers convention, I was in Salt Lake City back in the spring, and a teacher gave this piece of advice. If you're on public transportation, right? You're on the trolley, you're on the metro, go ahead and just talk aloud. You put your earbuds in or your AirPods, what headphones, whatever you have, and just talk, because people are going to think that you're talking to someone, or maybe you're recording, so you won't feel so strange or embarrassed or self-conscious. Just start talking. Just put the earbuds in and talk aloud. Okay, that's fun. And pronunciation-wise, going back to your comment, Roxana, if there's a word that you stumbled over in conversation, like cancellation, I don't know, if you're talking with colleagues and you're talking about a canceled order or a cancellation, a late delivery, that's what you could practice, right? We were talking at work about a late delivery. There was a late delivery. This late delivery caused a problem. I don't like late deliveries. Just say sentences with late delivery, because that's the phrase that you had trouble saying earlier. So now you're practicing it so that you're ready the next time to speak it more clearly. Okay, so be intentional, be creative when you're speaking aloud to yourself, and don't worry what other people think. If you need to create this disguise, put on your earphones, headphones, and just talk. Another fun thing you can do is replay conversations the way you wanted them to go. Or practice a conversation that you want to have. If you know you're going to have to make a phone call and you have to explain the problem with your internet, and you're going to talk to customer service and you're going to make a request, start practicing, right? Start practicing what you're going to say. That's something you can do before you even make the phone call. Or if you had the phone call and it's like, oh my gosh, that was so hard. Now replay it. What could you have said? What should you have said? Replay the conversation and think about the words that you can use the next time for that kind of situation. This is very helpful, right? I do this sometimes. If it didn't quite go the way I wanted to, I think about how I could have phrased it differently, right? It works in your first language as well. Sometimes we don't think before we speak, or the conversation doesn't go as planned. Well, you replay it in your mind and think, what could I have said differently? How should I have reacted, right? Mm-hmm. You're saying, I read fast, understand quickly, but specific words are stuck in your mind. You can't complete sentences, right? Okay, with reading, I'll get to that, but the tip coming up is reading and repeating what you just read, rephrasing it. But if there's specific words you can't complete the sentences, maybe you're shooting for too much. Maybe you don't have to build that big, beautiful sentence. Can you get to the point where you're just building a shorter, clearer sentence? Use what you've got, right? You just want to communicate an idea. It would be nice to communicate it with sophisticated grammar and vocabulary, but if it's not coming to mind immediately as you're having a conversation, use what you've got, all right? Later, you can replay that conversation and say it the way you wanted to, okay? Another fun activity is to describe photos or videos. I often start classes and private lessons this way. If I know the grammar or the vocabulary that we're going to be practicing in the main lesson, I pull a video. I choose usually a photo actually, from Pixabay or Pexels. These are free. These are stock videos. And you just describe it to the best of your ability. Oral exams often do this, right? They often give you a photo and you have to describe it to the best of your ability. So if you need some inspiration, look online for images and start describing them. The home pages usually have featured photos, and you just choose one that looks interesting and start describing it. You do not have to speak in full sentences. Use the words and phrases that you have and piece together complete ideas. How many of you have done that? Have you ever described photos? Okay. And by the way, get ready, because next week I am going to share a video on how to describe your photos, not the stock images online, but specifically the photos on your phone. Okay. So again, we're talking about how to think more in English. There are lots of activities that you can do. Do it every day, just a little bit. Work it into your daily life in the morning or in the afternoon, at the end of the day, especially while you're driving or riding public transportation. As you're walking, you start talking about what you're doing, what you've done, what you're going to do. Describe what you see. If you're at your computer or you have your phone handy, look at some online photos and describe them, okay? Someone just talked about reading. So after you read a book or an article, or you hear, let's say, a video or a podcast, how many of you then take the time to summarize it and then react to it? This could be written, but it's also spoken. It can be spoken practice, right? So if you just, even after this live stream, you might test yourself. Whoops, look, I have a typo here. I just listened to Jennifer talk about thinking in English, and I learned that blah, blah, blah. I learned that I should do it every day. The key ideas were that I don't have to be perfect, and I can mix languages, and I can, always improve step by step. I can speak in words and phrases. I think that this is helpful because it's something I can do. It's for free, and I don't have to make it difficult. I can start easy and then challenge myself more and more, right? If you watched a movie, what was the movie about, right? I hope to possibly see, I know I wasn't going to spend money, and then I thought, well, I kind of want to see Toy Story 5, maybe. I don't think they should have made a sequel, but they did. So I might go see the latest Pixar animated film, Toy Story 5. So after, maybe I'll challenge myself to tell what the story is about in Russian, for example. I just watched a movie about da 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 da. Right? The key ideas, the key themes were what? And then react to it. So after you hear English or read English, summarize it, react to it. Can you retell key ideas? Again, if you don't have an audience, then do it for yourself. Good, Fernanda. I'm glad you've described photos. Okay. Make it fun. I've said it. I told you before, if you're narrating your day, you can keep it factual, but if you're listening to me, I know that you are intermediate or advanced. You have enough language to have fun. So when you're talking about your day or what you've done, make yourself the hero of the story and talk about it like you have the most amazing life and you just did the most amazing things this morning and you have so much to look forward to this weekend. Talk about it in the best possible way. It will make you feel good. It'll probably make you laugh. And that's fine. That's good. Laughter's healthy. And play games. Now, if you have a partner or partners, that's great, but you can do this by yourself. Right? Have you ever played the memory game? I'm going on a trip and I'm taking. This is good for vocabulary. Even I can do this as a high beginner in Spanish. I'm going on a trip to Mexico and I'm taking apples. Then you have to add on. I'm going on a trip to Mexico and I'm taking apples and a hat. I'm going on a trip to Mexico. I'm taking apples, a hat, and my computer. I'm going on a trip to Mexico and I'm taking an apple, a hat, a computer, and my dog. I don't know, you can be funny, but it's partly a memory game, but you're building this long list of things that you're taking. That's also good for vocabulary. If you have to practice a new set of vocabulary like clothing, maybe you know things like shirt, pants, but you're learning things like, I don't know, what would be more advanced, capri pants. Is that new for you? Flip-flops. So you might choose a little bit more advanced clothing vocabulary. I'm going on a trip and I'm taking. It's a lot of fun with a group because you don't know what they're going to say, but you can play the game yourself, right? Have fun. How long of a list can you make? Can you remember 10 items? Can you remember 15? Right? Have you ever played that memory game? How good is your memory? I'm curious. I think I'm pretty good. I could handle 5, might be able to handle 10. I don't know beyond that. Okay, another fun game you can play by yourself are if chains. I've done this as a grammar game with students. I think I even did it not too long ago with my Patreon lifelong learners. And we could even try a quick one right now. So basically, the if chain is the if clause is followed by a result clause. Like if I had $1 million, I would buy a yacht, right? A big, beautiful boat, a yacht. If you're playing with someone else, the other person takes the result and makes that the next if clause. So I say, if I had $1 million, I would buy a yacht. If I have a partner, they would say, if I had a yacht, I would sail to the Caribbean. My turn. If I sailed to the Caribbean, I would relax on the beach. Next person. If I relaxed on the beach, I would not get any work done, right? Again, if you're playing with yourself, you can do it, right? And again, be creative. If I didn't get any work done, I would lose my job. If I lost my job, I'd have lots of free time. If I had lots of free time, I'd read more books. If I read more books, I'd get smart. If I got really smart, I'd get a better job, right? And you can have a long, almost a story based on all of these results, the possible results. Have you ever played that game? What would you do? How would you finish the first one? If I had $1 million, or if I had a yacht, what would you do? These are games. If you don't feel like narrating what's going on because it's a difficult day, then imagine a better life, right? Start with if. If I had all the time in the world today, I would sit in a park and do nothing, right? If I sat in a park and did nothing, I'd eventually get bored. And you go on and on. Think about that. You're Brad Pitt? That's another fun activity, by the way. You just inspired me. Can you imagine, choose somebody, either someone you like, doesn't have to be someone you like, it could be someone you don't like, but choose a celebrity and you can speak in the first person. Like, what if you imagined yourself as Brad Pitt? What if you imagined yourself as Taylor Swift? And you think, oh, I'm having such an amazing day. I am Taylor Swift. In fact, I think it's my wedding day today. I am getting married. It's amazing. I have this gorgeous dress and I have tons of guests coming to this big wedding. I heard the rumor that Taylor Swift is getting married, but that's a fun activity. You want to tap into your imagination and have some fun. So yes, you can become a celebrity and give this monologue and talk about her life, but you speak in the first person. You are Taylor Swift, or you are Brad Pitt, or you, I don't know who you want to be, Elon Musk, the president of a country, you choose, right? Have some fun. You would buy everything in a shopping mall. I'm glad you played that game, Fernanda. It's a fun game. Okay, so the third game, Fortunately, Unfortunately. This is also a game that native speakers play. You can play it in your first language with friends, but since you want to think more in English, you can do this again with a study partner, or if you have a group, or just with yourself. It's like the chain, fortunately, unfortunately. So the basic idea is that you start with one statement and the following one has to be connected logically, but you're flipping back and forth from positive to negative, positive to negative, or you start with optimistic to pessimistic, optimistic to pessimistic. You look at the good, you look at the bad. Okay, so what could we do? Fortunately, I have air conditioning, and you just imagine. Unfortunately, it costs a lot of money. Fortunately, I think I'll earn enough to pay for it. Unfortunately, it means working more hours. Fortunately, I have skills and talents. Unfortunately, there are only so many hours in a day. Fortunately, I love what I do. Unfortunately, there's little free time. You go back and forth. Do you get it? Or you can choose something more exciting. Start with something like, I don't know. You can start, I guess you could start with unfortunately. Unfortunately, aliens have landed in my backyard. Fortunately, I think I can speak their language. And you go, I don't know, if you want to choose a science fiction theme, you can. The idea, again, is just to go with the flow and do something that's fun and interesting for you. And you're flipping back and forth between what's the good thing, what's the bad thing. Fortunately, unfortunately. So there are 3 games that you can practice. Choose one for today and try it out. Going on a trip, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Name any place and say what you're taking. 2, do the if chains. If you don't know what to say, you can start out with the most popular one was if I had $1 million. But here's where AI can help you out. You can say, can you give me 5 fun statements with if? Make them unreal, make them interesting, right? For example, if I had $1 million, AI will give you a set of them and you can choose the one that you like best and start with that one, right? If you're going blank and you cannot come up with your first statement, right? If I were a millionaire, says Julie, you'd go on a shopping spree and you wouldn't tighten your budget. Oh yeah, I'd go on a shopping spree with you. All the different stores, right? Okay, 2 more. Lots of ideas, guys. Lots of ideas. Go back and choose one of these ideas today and put it into practice. Be an actor. Rehearse your lines. What scene would you like to play? This is great for intonation practice, pronunciation practice. Get inspired by ads or movie clips. So let's say you're watching, there are some funny commercials I think are so funny, but if you like a particular line or actor, use that and repeat it, right? And then you can build on it. So maybe you really want to practice this rise fall intonation, like bum bum, like, oh, really? Amazing. That's so interesting. If that's the intonation pattern you want to practice because you just heard it in a commercial, that's incredible. They're talking about the best butter in the world or this amazing laundry detergent. It's really good. It's amazing. It's so effective. I mean, think about a product that you have. Maybe pick up your favorite beverage and say, it's wonderful. It tastes delicious. It's the best thing I've ever tasted. That rise fall pattern is something that you can practice. Actors rehearse their lines, and sometimes they deliver them different ways to see what comes out most naturally, right? So you can take one phrase and say it 5 different ways, but you can also hold on to one pattern and just, use different words if you want to practice the rise fall. There's a slide. Did I say sharp? What did I say? Oh, I didn't type that right. Sharp rise for strong emotions. Instead of, is that what he really said? Is that what he really said? Oh my God, like, really? You're going up, right? The strong surprise, amazement, disbelief. We do a sharp rise for strong emotion. Did he say that? Really? You're going up? Not really, but really? Wow. Right? If you're an actor, just imagine yourself again in a scene. What's the situation? And practice the intonation pattern. Right? So if you watch my intonation series, there might be a certain pattern that you really want to master. You can use the examples from my video, but then you can use other words and phrases and try to use that intonation pattern in different ways. Be an actor, rehearse your lines. Okay? Last one, daydream in English. Right? I've talked about this before. You don't have to speak factually. You can make things up about your dream life. This is fun. I'm living my dream life. Every day I get to do what? And that if you're not completely happy with how life is right now, what do you want it to be like? And say it aloud in English. I'm living my dream life. Every day I get to do my dream job. I'm loving it. I enjoy the money I make. I have colleagues who inspire me. I'm so happy and grateful because what? That's a fun one. And as you do it with the emotion, you should feel pretty darn good. Daydream. What do you want to do? What kind of trip do you want to have? What kind of job do you want to have? You know, a significant other, you're still looking for someone? Who are you looking for, right? I'm so happy and grateful because I met my dream woman, my dream man, my dream person, whoever. He's amazing. She's amazing. They're amazing. Tell me, like, don't tell me, tell yourself. Have fun and daydream in English. Get excited because the more positive you are, the more successful you'll be in English, the more progress you can make. It's just a fact that if you have more positive emotion, you learn better. If you feel really negative with your English studies because you're bringing all this negative, these negative feelings into your English studies because this is hard, I'm just not making progress, I don't do this, blah, okay, I'll daydream in English. You have to start somewhere. Get a little bit more positive. Start with grateful, right? All right, I can't think of a dream life because it's never going to happen, but I guess I'm so happy and grateful because what? Talk about the things that you're grateful for. And then maybe you can start to put in the things that you actually want to have, and you start moving over to the imagined life that you can have, not just what you do have. Does that make sense? So I think you should daydream and have fun, but if you're not quite ready to jump into that, start somewhere. The whole point is that there is so much that you can do to think in English, right? This is number 10. And another fun thing you can do is I just shared a video recently with self-introductions. You can give me a thumbs up if you saw it. If you did not, please watch it. Okay. Introduce yourself. In the video, I take you through step by step, right? I've even practiced this with some private students recently. How do you introduce yourself confidently so that it just flows out, right? But imagine now you're giving the introduction you hope to give in 5 years, what kind of job you have, what you're doing, and you'll introduce yourself differently. There's a fun thing you can do, and you're going to do it multiple times until it flows out naturally, beautifully. Right? 10 ways to think in English. I'm going to do a quick recap so you can remember. Narrate what you're doing. State what you did so far today. State what your plans are for today or tomorrow. Describe what you see as you walk or drive. Again, if you're talking aloud and people are present, just put on your headphones, put in your AirPods. They won't know that you're talking to yourself. Replay conversations the way that you wanted them to go or practice a future conversation. Describe photos or videos. After you read or hear something, summarize it, react to it. Have fun, play games. I gave you 3 different games. You're going on a trip, the if conditional, fortunately, unfortunately. You can be an actor, especially for pronunciation practice. Rehearse your lines, right? Choose a favorite line that you just heard in a movie or a commercial and repeat it, right? Daydream. Talk about that life you really, really hope to have one day and describe it. Introduce yourself to an imaginary audience, right? You're having a job interview and it's the best job interview ever. This is the job that you want. How do you introduce yourself, right? And practice that. Whew, that's a long list, guys. Can you practice thinking in English? Yes, you can. Surely at least one of these 10 ideas is something that you can do, is something that, okay, I can try that, okay? I hope to hear from you. Say, Jennifer, I tried that idea you talked about. I like it. It's helping. Choose one of these activities and do it within the next 24 hours. Okay? Oh, good. I'm glad, Roxanne. You watched the introduction video, giving yourself introductions? Surprise. Mm-hmm. Oh, and rephrasing, by the way. If you heard something and you're summarizing, you're also rephrasing it. So those are the 10 ideas. Okay, we're winding down. This is the exciting part, guys. Okay, I am going to copy this amazing URL. I am going to stick it in here for you. And I'm going to double check that you see it now. There it is. You are seeing this URL for the first time. Oh yeah, Manuel, you just reminded me. Songs, listen to songs and repeat, the words aloud and talk about why you love the song so much. But here we go. Okay, guys, this is a new tool, completely free. I'm not selling you anything. I'm offering an opportunity. Okay. This is more than a speaking assessment. Some of you in the past visited my website. It's so new that I haven't even had time to add it to my website yet. So it's a separate URL different from my website, but I plan to put it in my website soon. Here's what you're going to do. Go to this and you will see it's called an Ingle. It's customized right now for me. So English with Jennifer, the English practice app. We are so fortunate because the developers have given me access to this. They customized it for me, and I can now share it with you. Every day, there's a new speaking topic, and you have up to 60 seconds. You can also adjust it to 45. If you're more advanced, see if you can do 45 seconds. You have 60 seconds to record an answer. You do not have to record right away. So you see the question, you can hear the question, think about it, and then record. AI is being used here to evaluate. And so then you get a response. I will let you know that I've tried it several times, and even I, your teacher, have never scored a perfect 100, okay? I am scoring C2, but this was my latest try. 97, 97, 92, 75. I didn't use very sophisticated vocabulary. So again, it's an assessment. It's just an indicator of where you possibly are and what you need to improve. But it's more than that. So when you record, it's also going to transcribe your answer. And you have a chance then to hear yourself as you spoke. And then you can hear the AI model speak with standard pronunciation so that you can compare how you spoke versus how the AI model speaks using North American English. You can also choose, by the way, I have it set for American English. You can have it changed, okay? I want to tell you, this is the basic description. The creators helped me formulate this so you can have a proper idea of what the Ingle does for you. It's not supposed to be your teacher. This is not an AI teacher. It's a tool. So it helps you practice speaking, reading, and listening. And when you click on Practice Studio, you get this information. So here's the first page. You get to Practice Studio, and Practice Studio takes you here. You see your score, but more important is your response and then the breakdown of your response. There are fun ways to explore the answer you give to a question. So there are over 1,000 questions. You can choose different topics. And here's the best part. It is unlimited. If you want to practice different topics every single day, right now, you can. I don't know how long this is going to be available for free, but it is free right now. Let me see if I can take you there. Okay. Are you seeing? Okay. I know that my video is partly covering things, but you'll get the basic idea. So basically, you get this. And if I want to hear another topic, I can. Let me see if I can choose. I think there could be. Oh, is it better to chase passion or chase opportunity? I answered that one. Would you prefer honest criticism to constant encouragement? Really good topics. Okay. So you're going to press go and you record. You can adjust this. If you think you can give a 30-second, 35, you can. I suggest 45. I think it's default. If you need more time, you can go up to 60 seconds. Once you're done, you get to hear your results. You get to hear your recording and see your results. When you record, if you want to change the name that appears, you can, but your name is anonymous. So your identity is protected. You can put the privacy setting on, and you can listen to other people respond. Okay, you can listen to other learners and see what score that they got. But once you go into Practice Studio, again, there are my results. Here's the transcript. I can hear myself. I can hear the AI model. And here's what's really good. A clear written version of your spoken answer. So as we speak, we're thinking aloud. Spoken language is different from written language. There's a different tone, a different flow, can be more formal, especially if it's an essay. So if you want to see an essay based on your ideas, AI will write it for you. And you can see the types of sequence markers, connecting words, what ideas do they use to make it very clear. You could also hear it as an argument, or you could also hear it as a story, and you can change the kind of story. Maybe I want it to be about a woman, and I want it to be a mentor. Maybe I want it to be a story about my future self, something like that. Anyways, you can get the idea that you have some customization. There's also flashcards with relevant words. This is really cool, the sentence examples, and you scramble. If you need help formulating sentences, this exercise helps you put sentences together. So you basically drop them in place and make a sentence. Pursuing passion, what? Often leads to what? Deeper fulfillment than merely seizing opportunity. Did I get it right? Okay, something like that. So there's a lot of fun exercises you can do here. The main thing is that every day you can have speaking practice and choose a topic. You can listen to others, you can get your score. And as I said, right now it's free. Take advantage of this, right? And this will help you speak and gain more confidence and have more awareness of where you need to improve. Okay? What do you think about that? Woohoo! Free tool. Okay, the link is in the comments. Go and get it. My favorite farewell in Spanish. Hasta luego. I don't know. Okay, we'll be winding down. My channel members are going to get a special challenge. I did not have time to do it today with you, but if you are a channel member, you will get a follow-up task. As always, it's one of your membership perks, right? Remember, you get follow-up tasks. I also post a short weekly quiz for you. Not many of you do it, but I post it. So those are two of your perks as members. And what I'm going to have them do is I'm going to give them a statement that they're going to elevate. If you would like practice, you can do this in the video. Okay, I recently have a video where I showed you with two different statements how we elevate it from A1 all the way up to C2. So you can go through the video and practice elevating a basic statement up to C2 with more sophisticated grammar and vocabulary. Okay, all right. So we covered a lot. What happens when we speak two languages? Things begin to mix. It's natural. It's okay. Tips for thinking in English, activities for thinking in English. There is the free speaking assessment and tool, the Ingle. The link is in the comments. I'll also put it in a pinned comment after this. Members, you'll get the vocabulary and grammar challenge. And as always, how can you get more practice? Well, yes, as members, because I've mentioned that. If you want more in-depth practice, all skills, my feedback. If you want to meet with me and turn on your camera and mic and not just listen to me for 60 minutes, but join me in conversation. And if you are B2, which I imagine you are because you are watching and following this live stream, then you can join me on Patreon. Okay, this is the link, but it's also on YouTube. It's also on my homepage, englishwithjennifer.com. We are going to have 2 live classes, as always, and office hours. Our classes are 75 minutes long, and I chosen this exciting topic to help you think more in English. We're going to identify problems and creative solutions. So speaking and writing, we're going to identify problems and creative solutions. So if you'd like the experience of group learning and also some independent tasks, you can get that with me on Patreon. Okay? All right, we are winding down. And I thank you for being with me for all this time. Okay? Take one of the ideas. I'll put it in the pinned comment. I'll give a summary in the pinned comment. I know someone was asking for the PDF. How about I give you a short version in the comments? Choose one of the activities to think more in English and do it in the next 24 hours, all right? When that starts becoming more habitual and you have fun with it, try another, right? Over the course of this year, we have 6 months left or more. Try different ways to think more in English. Practice is free. You can do it anytime, anywhere. Okay. All right, guys, thank you for being with me. I wish you a wonderful weekend ahead. I will stick around just for maybe one more minute to see if there are any final questions, but thank you and happy studies. How to join as a member, look below this video right now. There should be a join button. If you see the join button, you can become a member. If you do not see the join button, unfortunately, it means that Google, YouTube is not offering memberships in your geographical area. And for that, I'm very, very sorry. But fortunately, you can watch all my free videos, okay? Play that fortunately, unfortunately game today. Okay. Julia Manuel, all my regulars, Mahippo, surprise. Saddam Mohammed. Thank you all, my regulars, and welcome all the new people, okay? Think more in English. Choose an activity, do it, have fun, and you can make this happen. All right, take care, everyone. Bye.